And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
Go ahead and say it, Ed. Go Tigers!
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
You like that? You like that?
F it. Jamar's down there somewhere.
The New Orleans Saints select Marcus Davenport.
No!
Splash Brothers. Yeah.
It's playoff. Keep going, Brace.
The playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Welcome to Chasing the Trophy Fantasy Football Podcast, Season 2, Episode 9. This is our 12-team PPR live mock draft tonight. I'm here with our producer, Clay, one of the Dirty Boot boys, and myself, Derek Sanders, and coming at y'all with a live draft. This is a real treat because we just did a 10-team PPR draft. And now we're coming back with a 12-team because, you know, those are two of the most popular leagues, 10 and 12 teams. So that's what we're going to try to give y'all some more perspectives and some more options to look at when you're drafting. We're missing our original Dirty Boot boy, Josh, tonight. He wasn't able to make it, but he'll be back on with us next week. But first, we're going to go ahead and kick it off as we have been doing all season this year so far with a word of prayer. And then we're going to jump right on into it. Lord, thank you for giving us this game and the ability to enjoy and fellowship with this game, Lord. Just thank you for everything you continue to bless us with and sending your son to die on the cross, Lord. We're just so grateful and unworthy, but we'll continue to shine a light for you, Lord, and go and serve for you. And thank you for everything you continue to do for us. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, so we're doing a 12-team PPR mock draft live tonight with 90-second rounds. The only reason we're doing 90 seconds is because it's just going to be Clay and I drafting with a bunch of bots or computer picks. So it's going to go real quick, and that will give us time to kind of elaborate on some of the picks as they go and tell you about why we're going to pick and what we're going to pick where.
Tonight will be a lot more strategic of a night. And we'll be discussing the thought process behind each pick a lot more than last night.
Exactly. And this is going to probably be a little bit closer to a draft with people that like to pick based off rankings a lot more. Like last night, we had a lot of guys that know a fair amount about fantasy drafting. So they're not picking near as much based off of rankings like you do with some of your regular Joe drafts. These guys are picking off of their opinions and their own rankings. So that's why you've seen a lot of different picks outside of your average ranking picks. Tonight's going to be a lot more average draft position pick because the computer is going to take those guys that are right there available. There's not going to be a lot of guys that fall because somebody doesn't like them or anything like that. Those guys are going to be picked by the computer, and we'll talk about that as we go. But just like last night, going to be one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, one tight end, one flex, one defense, one kicker, and 6 bench spots. Also, Clay is going to be picking out of the 5 spot tonight, and I'm going to be picking out of the 10 spot in a 12-team draft. So you're going to get a little different perspective from both of us. As last night I picked out of the 6 spot, and Clay picked out of the 2. Was it the 2 spot, Clay? Wasn't that right?
Yeah, I was at 2 last night.
Yep, and then Josh was at 10 last night. So you're going to get a little different perspective on the way we draft differently at different spots. But before we get into that, I want to go ahead and thank our sponsors, Big Reed BBQ, Automotive Detailing Solutions, This Little Piggy Barbecue Food Truck, and Mimi's Children's Boutique. We really appreciate y'all backing us up, guys, and supporting us on this pod. And y'all go out there and support them. If you're listening, you're a fan of the pod, go and get you some of the stuff from our sponsors. And our title sponsor for this episode is going to be Automotive Detailing Solutions. And I'm going to turn it over to Clay and let him tell y'all a little bit about Automotive Detailing Solutions.
All right. Automotive Detailing Solutions is not the usual car wash. ADS provides intricate detailing to groom your vehicle inside and out, focusing on quality over quantity. From carpet and seat extractions to paint polishing, ADS strives to be Jackson Parish's premier automotive detailer. Contact Matthew Smith at 318-475-9492 add us on Facebook, or just ask the guys from Dirty Boot Sports about their ADS experiences. Shout out to Matt as always. Best there is. Go get at him. And yeah, get your car clean. Get it ready for football season.
Spotless, sparkling detail. That's for sure. I've seen several pictures of several of his clients, and you will not be disappointed for sure. So give him a call, guys. And then moving on to that, we're going to go ahead and talk just a little bit next week, kind of previewing our pods that are coming up. Definitely, first off, next week after Labor Day weekend, when a lot of people have their drafts and everything, we're going to come at you with a news and updates pod, as well as at the end of that pod, I'm going to try to keep it a little bit shorter since we kind of know most about the injury updates. It's just going to be a brief update on most of those guys that we've already talked about that are injured. And we're also going to talk about some guys that likely didn't get drafted in your regular size league. So, 10, 12, maybe even some guys in 14-team leagues, they might have got drafted, but maybe at the end of those rounds. But some of those regular size leagues that you want to keep your eye on for waivers in week 1. Those are some guys that, as Clay said before the pod, some diamonds in the rough or diamonds in the gridiron, some guys that that you just want, I guess, lottery picks, essentially. Guys that could really blow up for you that, they're sitting out there on the waiver. And if they do blow up in week 1, you want to kind of already have your eye to check to see how they did after their game. And if that's somebody you're going to want to go ahead and try to pull the trigger on. Because if we're talking about them before the season starts and they blow up, there's a good chance it's for real. So we're going to talk a little bit about that on our first pod coming back. And then we'll probably have one more pod maybe before the regular season on Thursday night. We'll just have to see how that goes. But either way, after that, we're going to get into our normal pods of a waiver wire episode and a start sit sleeper episode every week. So y'all be looking for those to come as soon as the season gets kicked off. And barring that, Clay, is there anything else you want to add before we get this mock draft going?
No, the little bit of news today with roster cuts and all that stuff.
That's
so
right.
Jonathan Taylor, if you haven't heard already, did not get traded and got put on the PUP, which is the physically unable to perform, and he is automatically out for 4 weeks. And I know on ESPN that has already dropped his draft ranking to 62, which is 14 spots behind Kamara, who is out for the 3 games. What happens after Taylor gets back those 4 weeks? Who knows? Maybe he gets traded. He'll have about 4 or 5 weeks till the trade deadline. So they'll see how that happens. And yeah, it's very interesting to see how he's going to get drafted, or honestly, if he gets drafted in some drafts. I mean, I know there'll be some where people will definitely be shying away as much as they can. And yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see because, I mean, I know last night he went in the second round of our mock draft. And then now, I mean, we don't expect them in the top 5 or 6 rounds. One more thing that I just saw as we started this, Jackson Smith and Jigba returned to practice today after his wrist surgery already. All right, catching balls and everything.
So, all right, good for him, but that's a little scary for me.
It is,
because if you broke your wrist and had to have surgery, the last thing I want to hear about you doing is catching balls, and it hadn't even had time to heal yet. Like, that's one thing you cannot accelerate bone growth. Trust me, you cannot accelerate bone growth to that extent. Like, it still takes time for that bone to heal together.
Yeah.
So either Dr. Coach Pete Carroll overstated that injury tremendously. Or
I mean, he had the wrist surgery
wrong.
So.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out. I mean, are we sure it was a wrist surgery? It wasn't like an injection or something.
I'm looking at a picture, and he's got on this left wrist. He's got a little bit, kind of like some tape around it, more than a glove on the other wrist.
Yeah.
On the other hand, so you can definitely tell there's something extra there. And a quote from QB Geno Smith: "He's a tough kid, and I think it's remarkable what he's doing." So. Yeah, I guess he's back out there. He might play
Look,
week 1. Who knows?
he might, but Lord, if he gets hit in that thing, I mean, anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's just got to catch everything with the right.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, more power to him. I'm glad to see some of the young guns stepping up and being tough, but
Yeah.
anyway, that's quite a shock. But yeah, I'm glad you reminded me, Clay. I smooth forgot to say something about Taylor. All right, if I'm drafting now, he's got to be a late, like 10, 11, 12th round pick for me. Because if
that's
they
how I'm
don't,
feeling, honestly.
yeah. I mean, I know you just talked about that. I don't know if you said what round, but if they don't find a trade partner, they're gonna tag him later on, after his 4 games is up, and if they tag him, he's not playing. Like he's already, that he's already come out and said that. Now, I don't understand. All right, I'm still trying to figure out. I don't understand how they can't do a 1-year deal with a lot of money or something to kind of come to some kind of, which I mean, I guess they may have already tried that. Obviously he's going to wait way more than Jonathan Jacobs got. I mean, Josh Jacobs got for 1 year, 12 million. But man, I just find it hard to believe that he plays or does anything in Indianapolis, and I think he's got to get traded. But if you have not drafted, if you've drafted but you didn't draft him, see what you can get him for in your leagues on the cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, it is not too early to start trying to trade somebody. I mean, you go and see who they got at their running back position, because they're probably relying on Jonathan Taylor. Good chance. And see if you can trade somebody on your bench, maybe your 4th or 5th RB, for Jonathan Taylor. Somebody that you were just going to use for a bye week fill-in.
Yeah.
And they might take him because they might need it.
And another interesting thing, I think Zach Moss apparently is still healthy. I thought he broke his arm.
He broke his forearm, but apparently fractures are not what they used to be.
Yeah.
Is what it's seeming like.
So it's down to Zach Moss, Deion Jackson, who, if anyone was a Taylor owner last year, Jackson had a couple games for the Colts.
He did. I was a Taylor owner, and he helped me out a lot.
Yeah, he was pretty solid. And then Jake Funk, I believe, is the other one, who was running back for the Rams, I believe, last year. So that's who it's down to right now. Do they sign a Kareem Hunt? Do they sign a Leonard Fournette? Who knows? But we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't touch any of those, regardless of what my team is looking like right now, because who knows how that's going to go. And another interesting thing about the Colts, they have 2 players that are the age of 30, and those are their oldest players. Everybody else is under the age of 30. It's crazy.
Yeah. So
full rebuild going on in Indianapolis, youth movement.
Yeah.
So it'll be very fun to watch and see how that plays out. But yeah, I would not be touching any running backs for fantasy. Pretty much Michael Pittman and that, then get away. And I wouldn't touch anyone else. Alec Pierce, maybe if it's a deep league. But
he really didn't have his showing like we thought he was going to in preseason.
No.
So we're about to get this going. There was actually somebody, I have a good friend that I've been playing fantasy with for about 12 years that moved, and we're no longer in a league together anymore. But he was going to try to join our live mock draft tonight, even though, it was just going to be us. But he's having problems with the link. So I don't know if he's going to be able to make it in or not. But anyway, no other news other than Kyler Murray. He's on the pup.
The inevitable
missed 4 games. That's right. I don't think there was anybody else really that we talked about the main guys.
La'el Collins is on the pup for 4 weeks. So
well, that's kind of big for them.
I mean, with the Bengals, you never know with that O-line.
Yeah, man, because at least they got Orlando Brown. Thank goodness. But anyway, so I think if he can't get this going shortly, then we're going to go ahead and get it kicked off because we need to start talking about some picks.
Absolutely.
So, what about your Braves? How your Braves been doing? I know we don't talk baseball enough. I'm going to get mark my words, guys. I love fantasy baseball. If you're listening, I've been playing for a long time, and one day I'm going to get a fantasy pod out there for you guys. One day, because man, I love me some fantasy baseball.
I've never played it. I've always wanted to. Never really had like the people that follow baseball like that. But I mean, I know me and Chance would both be down. It's just a fact of we want every Braves player.
Hey, look, I can tell you right now, 1 through 9, every one of them is owned on a team, and that's not always the case.
Yeah.
But every one of them is owned, and there's not many teams.
It's a pretty crazy
like
lineup.
But it is an impressive lineup, and so I'm gonna get it going one day.
Yeah, I'm down to join up if you've got a consistent league or some consistent guys.
Oh, dude, this league we're in, it's a 7. While we're stalling here for a second for Paul, come on, Paul. So it's a 7-team keeper league. I mean, a 7-player keeper league, right? And it's pretty much your basic format. You got catcher, first base, second base, third base, shortstop, 3 outfield spots, and then you have your corner infield spots and your middle infield, which is a first, third, and a short second.
Yeah.
And then you have a utility spot, which a lot of the times is typically you can play a DH guy or anybody. And then you have, I believe ours is 9 pitcher spots, and then you have, I think it's 3 or 4 bench spots. I'd have to go back and look. I lose count, and then 2 IL spots on our teams.
So do get 9 pitcher spots. Do relievers like consistently play, or is it just everybody playing starters?
So with ours, we're a 6x6 categories league. All right, and it's a head-to-head. So 6 offensive categories, which is runs, RBIs, total bases, home runs, steals, and average. Okay. So that's 6 that you can win in offense.
Oh, steals. So yeah, Ronnie's really up there.
That's right. So you got 6 offensive or batting statistics, and then pitching statistics, which is wins, holds, saves, strikeouts, ERA, and WHIP, and that's your 6 pitching statistics. And you go head to head with a team each week, and whoever wins the most points out of those 12 wins. And then the league is ranked based off of your total number of points won, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
that way it's not head to head each week. You know, someone that if you get the second most points or something, you don't get screwed over kind of every week. Yeah, I figure you have to do that more so in those long leagues like baseball and basketball. But yeah, I'm definitely down to try next year. And now I watch the Braves every game, essentially, I learn more and more about other teams. So
yeah. Well, we definitely we've been going. We have a good core. I think we're at 12 teams still. It's either 12. We might have dropped to 10 because we had some guys get out a couple years ago. But we've had the same guys for, last I can remember, it's been about 6-7 years, give or take. Yeah. But anyway, Paul just texted me he's having some issues. He's not going to make it. And so we're going to go ahead and get started, guys. And thanks for listening to our short fantasy baseball segment. And we'll get back to you next season with that. Yeah. All right, starting the draft. Here we go.
All right, draft is loading. I'm in it.
Well, I think we know who's going 1 or have a good idea.
I don't know. You said Chase went number 1 for your friend.
he did, and we will see.
So I'm at 6. Derek's at 10. We got 12 teams. I've never done a 12-team actual league.
I'm in the first one ever this year.
So I'm very very raw
Yep.
on my drafting abilities, but I'm
So
sure I'll
there we
figure it out.
go.
Here we
As we
go.
figured, Jefferson, Chase, McCaffrey, Cup at 4, Hill at 5. Cup, man, the news came out he's going to be ready for week 1. He went from around 7th to 8th pick up to 4 quick. And I'm happy about that. I wish he would keep sliding in my drafts, but anyway, go ahead, Clay. What are you thinking here?
All right. Well, I wanted the middle pick because one of the reasons was I wanted to be able to consider Travis Kelce.
Mm-hmm.
And
You're definitely doing that right here because he's the top available.
Yeah, he's top available, and I've always been interested. I've never had Kelce. I've just always been interested on how a
It would
draft
play out if you got
how
it.
a draft plays with him on my team. And while it would be a 12 team, and I'm usually in 10s, I think I could still get a feel for that.
Yep.
My other option I'm looking at is Eckler.
Yep.
I think I think he's a top 4 or 5 player, so it's definitely good value here at 6. But
he's 28-year-old running back.
He is. Travis
But he's a
Kelce's a
special
30-year-old
player.
tight end that has never been hurt.
I learned my lesson last year because I thought he could be his year, and he blew up. So
Yeah.
I can't. I'm just riding that train, I guess.
I'm gonna go Kelce. That's
right.
what I wanted when I came in,
I
just
like
to see
it.
how it goes. So
I like it. That's
for the
what
first
mock
time
drafts
ever,
are for,
I've
guys.
drafted Travis Kelce.
That's right. That's what mock drafts are for. So after him, Eckler goes, Barkley goes, Diggs goes, and then here I am at 10, thinking about what I'm gonna do, and not what I did in the last draft, which was take too many wide receivers. But I love Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Do you feel that Bijan's too low on here? 15?
I think they think the same thing that some of us are worried about, that, he's not going to get 100% of the work, that he's going to be about an 80%. And if you lose that little bit, that can impact him enough to not be in the first round. But I'm going with my guy here, the guy that I think could be in the top 4 or 5 wide receivers up there with Hill and Cup, and I'm going to go with Amon-Ra again.
Oh, you got a good pick that fell to you.
And I do have a guy that has been growing on me significantly that I was not thinking I was going to take until the last couple weeks. And I cannot pass on Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
In the turn here.
I'm shocked that he's here for you.
He is.
So it went Bijan, Chubb, Lamb, and Pollard. I'm very interested in how Pollard and Robinson's team gets built.
If I was banking on Pollard coming back to me, and it didn't happen, but I'll tell you what, I'll take Garrett Wilson there at after the turn at, let's see, that was picked. Let's see, I had
203.
Yep.
And then
203.
Just went Brown, Adams, Olave.
Yep.
All right.
So Olave was probably somebody you were hoping would fall, I would imagine.
All three of those guys.
Brown.
All 3 of those guys, I probably would have pulled the trigger.
So now you're looking at Waddle, Henry, Jacobs, Smith.
I feel like there was a step, like there was a drop off after those 3.
That's exactly right. And
I've got my tight end. I know that.
Yeah, you definitely don't even have to worry about
drafting a tight end. I'm not considering a quarterback in the first 6 or 7 rounds.
Yeah.
I think I have to push that off. So I'm pretty much out of anyone above Herbert. At top 7 or so quarterbacks, I'm out on them.
Yep.
I don't know about Waddle here. I think I've got my pick.
If you're going running back, I think you got to roll with somebody that's guaranteed volume.
Yeah.
But what you go ahead. Well, you go who you're going, and then we'll talk about it because we got time.
I think I'm going Henry.
I like it. That's who I would go.
I think I'm going Henry.
Because he's the most durable, one of the most durable backs in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's got a coach committed to him by far, and they built that offense around him.
Yeah.
And he's going to get the work. So after
having a team with Derrick Henry and Travis Kelce, you feel pretty consistent at those two positions immediately.
Yep. So Derrick Henry, then Mahomes goes in second round. Sweet mother. Then Devontae Smith, T. Higgins, Josh Jacobs, which Josh Jacobs has come right on back after he signed that deal. Jalen Waddle, Aaron Jones at the turn. That's not a bad spot there. One, getting Jefferson, Waddle, Jones. But and then at second pick after the turn, Josh Allen. We knew he was coming that long. Keenan Allen in 3. Last night we seen him fall to me in the 4th round in that 10 league, top 10 league. And I feel like he went a little bit earlier, which he did. He was a value when I drafted him in the 4th last night.
Definitely.
And but anyway, so he goes 3, Mixon at 4 on after the turn, who honestly is a little early compared to a lot of other drafts. I was hoping he would make it back down to me. He didn't, but that's how drafts go. And then DK Metcalf, and we're back to Clay for his pick at 3-6. So what are we thinking here, Clay?
Can you pause it?
Yeah, sure can.
Boom, perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, so I just said I'm not taking a quarterback, and Jalen Hurts is number 1 on the board.
Yeah.
As much as I love Hurts,
I'll
I
be
can't
honest,
do it.
in a 12-team league, if you're going to take a quarterback this high, to me, Hurts in the 3rd round is the perfect value.
It is.
But I cannot argue, because I don't think I would take a quarterback in this high.
Yeah.
Now
I don't think that
exceptions, but
I don't think I could start a draft at tight end, running back, quarterback.
Yep. No,
that's
this
a
big.
With how many good wide receivers there are, man.
And I know you probably know how I feel about one of the guys that's toward the top here, and Calvin Ridley, who's the best available wide receiver currently.
Yeah. My choice is definitely between Ridley and Cooper.
Those
are the only 2 people I'm feeling right now.
But I feel like Ridley's going to have more volume. I think Cooper's probably more of a. I think that he's going to be. I think Ridley is going to be a lot more of a volume play. I just feel like, from what we're hearing out of camp, Trevor Lawrence has been locking onto him in situations, and we know with these big time quarterbacks, when they have that wide receiver they lock onto, it's it can be magical. But
the only thing that concerns me here, and it's not as much based on the players themselves. I think it's more of how my team is being built right now. I've got my solidified running back. I've got my solidified tight end.
Yep.
I think I'm good on those positions for at least 2 rounds. I think I want to go back to back receiver.
I think that
what I'm looking at here is it's Ridley or Cooper. Ridley's got for one, he's got to actually do it on the real season field with Lawrence. Hasn't seen that yet. He's got Kirk with him, who was incredible last year. Zay Jones, who was good. Evan Ingram, who's good. ETN, who's going to catch the ball.
So,
I'm going Cooper.
Okay, hold on. Right before you make that pick, I was just going to make a recommendation to people. When I am in a lock between 2 players, kind of like this, I like to go to one other thing. I like to look at their age, and then I like to look at their strength of schedule. Okay? So, Ridley's 28, and he has the easiest strength of schedule for a running back currently. I mean, a wide receiver currently. All right?
That is
Cooper.
I didn't realize the easiest, which I guess
the easiest.
That AFC South.
All right, and then let me pull up Cooper's here.
Cooper's got 11th.
Oh, you already okay. So I was working on pulling it up.
And he's probably what, 28, 29 maybe?
Hang on. I was pulling up his profile. All right, 29.
Okay.
So, age is fairly similar. He's been fairly healthy the last couple seasons, but the 11th, all right, toughest. So, honestly, 11th, first, I mean, that could just be a rankings dispute there, depending on how the defenses play out. Obviously, first sounds a lot better, but we all know a defense that's ranked as the toughest defense at the beginning of the year right now is probably unlikely to be the number 1 defense.
Yeah, we saw that Jacksonville defense after that big year. They dropped to 11th after being the solidified one.
That's right. So I mean, I could not argue if you felt Cooper. He's one of my breakouts. I think him and Watson got some chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
If you went Cooper over Ridley, I wouldn't argue. All I would hope is that Ridley falls to me.
My my only reason I'm going Cooper here, or my biggest reason, is that I feel with who this guy's being my wide receiver one, which is not usual. I don't think most people are drafting either of these guys to be their wide receiver one. But whenever I got Henry and I got Kelsey, that's how it's fallen.
Well, and Kelsey's your wide receiver one, like we kind of talked about last night.
That is true. But with Cooper versus Donovan Peoples-Jones, Njoku, Chubb, who doesn't really catch the ball, and then Ridley fighting against Kirk, Ingram, ETN, who catches the ball a lot. I just feel Cooper's a little bit safer, as much as Ridley might be the better pick. So, I'm going Cooper here.
Okay. All right. So
please wait for the draft to start.
Does it let you select him? Because I know you had like 1 second.
Yeah,
so Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, I'm about to click it. Here we go.
Okay, it restarted the timer, I think.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, it's giving you – it's counting
down.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, that's it.
That's cool. Okay.
And I figure it'll probably give me like 5 more seconds or something. But I've got the button. I've got the button ready. So.
And if not, it might let me go and override the pick afterward.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Restarted the timer. Perfect.
Okay, good deal.
Oh, and Ridley fell.
And
Najee, Stevenson, and Hurts.
Yep. All right, so Najee, Stevenson, Hurts. This is one of those situations like last night.
Do you get
another wide receiver, but somebody that I like in this area that did not fall was Mixon. But Jahmyr Gibbs fell here. Okay. So do I stick with Calvin Ridley, who I really like, or do I go with a high upside volume running back in Gibbs that's supposed to be getting a lot of pass work?
I've been hearing more and more good stuff about Gibbs. I was kind of out on him at the start of the process, but now it's getting closer, and I'm liking him a lot more.
I like him a lot too.
You're on the turn.
I'll tell you, I am on the
very
turn.
Soon.
So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go Ridley, and Gibbs went.
And ETN.
That's all right, because I'm going to start focusing a little bit more on these guys.
Reese Hall, Damian Pierce.
Yep. All right,
Mark Andrews went as well, second tight end off the board.
So last night, this is where I really felt like I made my mistake, and I went another wide receiver here that fell to me that I liked.
Yeah.
Will not do that again. So, and I'm going to take the guy that I talked about taking that I really liked last night. I like Breece Hall, but Dalvin Cook's there. There's no denying that. But this guy does not have anybody there right now, and that's Alexander Mattison. Healthy. Ooh. We talked about him a little bit after. I'm going to reach down and grab him because
You're reaching for him past Pierce.
I am. I like Pierce, but Madison's in a better offense.
That's
better
true.
Quarterback.
That's true.
I think Pierce is starting to exceed his value a little bit in drafts.
Okay, I can understand that.
I don't think his their offense isn't going to be that good. He is that good, but their offense isn't going to be that good. So I'm going to go Madison here. I like him better. I like Kenneth Walker, but he's got Charbonnet breathing down his neck, and I think that could be a problem eventually. So I go Alexander Mattison. Ayuk goes. DJ Moore. Damian Pierce goes. And we're back to Clay here.
And Lamar Jackson's the top player on the board.
Probably thinking wide receiver, but he's like, Lamar's his guy. And
Lamar.
You can bet money he ain't making it back.
That's true. That's true. But I told myself I'm waiting on quarterback. So.
All right. So if you don't, okay, listen to me here. You got Deontay there. You got Tyler Lockett there. You got
this is that range we talked about last night where it's so many wide receivers I don't like.
Deontay is by far my favorite of all these guys. I think Chris Godwin is not a terrible option, but he's not going to make it back to you. I don't like Hopkins at all. I don't like London at all. I like Lockett, but I don't know if he gets the volume that you're going to want your wide receiver 2. I like him more at a flex. So, it's up to you, man. Honestly, I don't know if there's a wide receiver that I really love here either, unless you're thinking going running back.
No, I can't go running back. If Pierce was here, I might would have considered him. I think I'm going Godwin.
Okay. I like Godwin. I think he's go ahead and pick and we'll talk about him. I'll pause if I need to. I think he's Baker's number 1 guy.
Yeah.
Honestly. So you go Godwin. What do you tell me what you think about Godwin? I'll pause it.
I mean, he's almost as consistent as Mike Evans, it seems, as long as he stays healthy. I think he can. I feel better about him as my wide receiver 2 than I do Deontay Johnson.
Okay.
And it's just a tough situation where.
Well, Godwin to me is a better wide receiver.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, probably not as good of a situation.
I am a Baker believer, so that
really.
Does, okay. I love Baker, and is it gonna pan out? Who knows? Probably not. But,
he is Johnny Manziel 2.0. What are you talking about, son?
He got Cleveland a playoff win. Come on now.
Yeah, because they had probably the best team they've ever had in the history of their franchise.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm not going to
like Godwin, though.
And I don't think he's the worst quarterback in the league. I'll say that. But I think he's not that great. I think he's serviceable. Let's say that.
I'm not going to say entirely a Browns fan, but I rooted for the Browns pretty heavily because of Baker, and I still kind of do root for the Browns. I mean, it's not Saints are still my team, but which I root for. I root for almost every team in the NFL because of fantasy. There's not many teams that I don't go for, but with Godwin, it's another situation similar to Cooper, where I feel better with Cooper as my wide receiver 1 compared to Ridley. And I feel better with Godwin being my wide receiver 2 compared to Drake London, Deontay Johnson, who is on the board.
Yeah.
And
I like it.
Yeah,
so
I'm going Deontay Johnson here.
Yeah, so you passed on Johnson, took Godwin, and he comes back around. So T.J. Hawkinson goes after Godwin anyway. So we're seeing some of the big tight ends, go, and you've got Kelsey. I'm hoping Waller falls to me because honestly, I'm probably taking Waller here at 5 and a 12 team. I'll reach down for him a little bit if he makes it to me because I like him that much, and I think he's got that big of an upside, and I'll probably draft a backup later. But Breece Hall goes after Hodgson. Hopkins, we don't really like that much. McLaurin hurt. Your boy Lamar goes at the turn. Man, that one pick is looking great down there. Anyway, he gets Lamar. Then he goes Lockett. Rashad White already goes. Then Joe Burrow. Jonathan Taylor in the 6th round. Boy, this Team 4 computer guy did not get the memo about today's news. Anyway.
Well, and looking at their team, though, they got Mixon, Breece Hall, Cup, Smith.
But what if Breece Hall scaled back to start the year, though?
That's true.
A little bit, I mean, which he's got plenty of time, but he's still got to draft quarterback and a tight end and probably another wide receiver, at least somewhere. But then Miles Sanders goes, who is kind of a bummer because I was hoping he would make it back to me. I like him a lot. And then we're going to go ahead and start it back with Clay here, who is going to go Deontay Johnson, which is a great pick.
Yeah, I think I am. Even though Drake London just keeps falling, but I don't love him at this position still.
I don't either.
I think I've got to go Deontay just compared to the other guys.
Yep.
And he was someone I was considering last pick, and I feel a lot better with him as my wide receiver 4, and this is what he's going to be. So, unpause it, and then we can get that going.
It should be. Oh,
or it's probably starting the timer or something. Yeah, there it goes.
No, I hit it twice. That was my fault.
So yeah, now I got to be looking. My next pick will be in 12 turns. I'm trying to see. Cause I'm probably looking towards running back next round. I'm trying to see who my RB2 is going to be. If I could get a James Conner or Cam Akers, I'd be very happy.
Yep.
I'm liking the way this is going. A lot more than I expected for Travis Kelce round 1 in a 12 team. Like. That's kind of scary, but I'm
and this is also another thing where we're picking against people picking, ADP rankings versus real people can change a little bit depending on their knowledge.
Yeah, but there have been some reaches already through the computer.
That's right.
Because James
All
Conner
right.
just went.
So here we are. Justin Herbert goes, who I was considering. Now that takes that decision out. Not have to worry about picking him. I could wait till late now because he's my last quarterback that I really like. Judy goes, Connor goes. I got Madison. Do I want to wrap up my running back some more? I think I'm going to go ahead and take the guy that I said I was thinking about taking ahead of time, and that's going to be Darren Waller. I'm going to go ahead and take him now before the turn, just in case the computer takes him. I love his upside. I think to me, he's the tight end 2 at the worst. And then he's got that upside. If Kelsey has a down year, gets injured, he's going to be the 1 to me, as long as he stays healthy. Justin Fields goes after I take him at 5. London 6. London at the turn. Marquise Brown, who now Arizona, Colt McCoy, no Kyler Murray. I don't want any part of Marquise Brown now. Christian Watson, who we've heard mixed reviews. We're hearing a lot more about Romeo Dobbs now. So I'm going to jump back on the running back train here and look and see who I got. I got Kenneth Walker, Cam Akers, James Cook, Javonte, Kamara. I like a lot of those guys, honestly. Man, I like the way they use Kenneth Walker. I do worry about Charbonnet, but do I go Walker or Akers here?
I just noticed Kamara 77 on here as compared to 48 on ESPN.
Yep.
I feel a lot better about him at 77. Yeah, I think it's between Walker and Akers.
Well, Akers got kicked out for a fight a couple weeks ago, so I don't know what's up with that. But you know what? I'm going to go with Walker.
I think it's a good
Pete
value
Carroll
pick.
ride a guy. I like him here as my RB2. So I'm going to go Walker.
Javonte, Kittle, and Evans just went.
And they said he was catching the ball some out of the backfield in practice. So
he was very good last year.
I like Kenneth Walker. Javonte goes, George Kittle, Mike Evans. I don't really want any part of Kittle or Evans. I like Javonte, but I really only like him if you're going to get P. Ryan just to hedge your bet. Yeah. Just for the sheer fact of re-injury, and if for some reason P. Ryan ends up being the guy. Another reason I like drafting P. Ryan late, honestly, and somebody I target in every draft. So now we're sitting here with Clay. He's got Kelsey, Henry, Cooper, Godwin, Johnson, pretty stacked. I'm wondering what he's thinking right here. He's probably thinking running back.
I know my pick. It's James Cook.
All right.
I think James Cook I think he's the perfect RB2 to pair up with Derrick Henry.
I like it.
Because with Henry, you get that consistent bell cow running back.
Yep.
Like, he's going to get his 20-plus carries a game. With Cook, he might not get 20, he might get 15, but he might get 20 touches.
That's right.
And I think that's something that, I love that pick here. And I've got another pick that I'm hoping gets back to me, and we'll see if it happens. So Cook is here.
James Cook.
And it did not. I was wanting to pair him up with Kamara.
Okay. Yeah, I was hoping. So he goes Cook, then Dobbins goes, Goddard, Akers, Williams, Kamara. A lot of these running backs we like running in this round. Then we got Christian Kirk, Pittman, Lawrence, Montgomery. Man, that team 5, they went 0 RB and went Sanders, Dobbins, Montgomery. You got to like that because they went Hill, Mahomes, DK, TJ Hawkinson, which I'm not 100% sold on Hawkinson this year. Especially after he's wanting to get paid. But anyway, so we're coming back to Clay. He's sitting here with Henry and Cook at RB1 and 2, Cooper, Godwin, Johnson, and then Kelsey tight end. Man, that's a pretty complete team.
I don't hate pairing the Cook brothers up here.
Yeah. So thinking about going Dalvin.
He's an option.
Yeah.
Not really feeling DeAndre Swift or Pacheco.
Yep.
Deshaun Watson sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
I
think you could probably get away waiting another round for Deshaun. Honestly, after
it'd be 12 picks.
It is, but you got to look.
Quarterbacks?
I don't, but I can tell you I'm probably not taking them here. But
Team
anyway.
8 does not, and you do not. So there's 3 of us. I could pair them up with I'm taking them.
You'll take Watson.
I'm pairing them up with
Cooper.
my
I like
wide
it.
receiver 1.
I like it.
And then there
All
went
right.
Dak. So team 8 did take a quarterback, and it probably would have been Watson. So I feel better
You're
about
exactly right. Exactly right.
it. Now
So
you're the lone
Jahan
man without the
Dotson,
quarterback.
Jahan Dotson, and it'll be a while.
Yeah.
Jahan Dotson was somebody that value was falling, and I was really liking. Even though I got wide receivers out the wazoo, I was really liking that value there. So now I'm going to go back to the well here. All the quarterbacks that I like are farther on down. I'm not worried about taking one too early.
Yeah,
Let's
and being
see.
Team 12 does not have a quarterback as well. So you're down to the last 2. And when you're at that point, same thing with tight ends. Just don't even worry about it.
Now we're sitting here looking. We got Swift, Cook, Gibson, Herbert. I like a lot of those guys, but I'm going to go with Cook. I'm going to see if they are, he's, I mean, you want to talk about some upside. What am I getting here? I'm getting Dalvin Cook for the New York Jets with Rodgers as quarterback at the 7th round. Okay. So we go, Swift goes, Tua goes, Gibson goes,
Team 12
Jackson
gets that quarterback.
Smith, and Jigba goes. They must have heard that he was back at practice because he went early, 8th round. Okay.
So you get that ability to keep waiting on quarterback now that Tua is with Team 12.
So now I'm going to pick up a little wide receiver depth here. Somebody that I really like that is our wide receiver 1 on a team with a new offensive coordinator and a pretty decent quarterback still, even though he really let me down last year. I love Cortland Sutton down here. I know I did not before, but now that we have Judy out, Sean Payton's there. I think
as a wide receiver 4, it's good value.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying he's going to be a focal point. I mean, he had 5 targets in their 2 possessions that he played the other night. So I'm going Cortland Sutton here.
Defense just went round 8.
Yeah, that's that computer pick.
Odell,
right there,
defense, and Kyle Pitts. What a 3 picks right there.
So I go Cortland Sutton. Odell goes, my goodness, at 8. I don't know. They didn't get the memo that Zay Flowers looks really good.
Yeah.
San Fran and then Pitts. Well, that's kind of a value for Pitts. I don't like him, but man, round 8 for his upside. If say their coach gets fired because they're so terrible.
Yeah.
And they actually have a coach that plays him. That could benefit them greatly.
Kittle and Goddard going in round 6. I feel good about Pitts at 8. Very, very good about it.
Yeah, if I didn't have a tight end and we got to 8, I had my team filled pretty much. Man, I'd love me some Pitts that far down. So, anyway, what are you thinking here?
I like Zay Flowers, but I think I like Khalil Herbert more. I need that running back 3. After him, it takes a little bit of a drop, I feel. Yeah. Because A.J. Dillon, Brian Robinson, Samaje Perine, those feel a little bit more risky. So, and there's other receivers that I feel good about on the wraparound to take as that 4th. So, I'm locking in on Herbert.
I'd almost bet money you get Flowers after that wraparound. Nope, didn't come to you. Man,
it was close.
The computer jumped on all those guys that were left.
Yeah.
So you went Herbert, then Brian, which I love Herbert at 8, by the way. And there's a good chance he leaves that backfield at least for half the season.
Yeah.
Unless for some reason he gets hurt or Roschon just beasting it, which he could do. Excuse me. But then we got Brian Robinson, Jordan Addison, who I'm still not sold on, even though everybody and their mom thinks he's going to break out. I'm just not sold on it. Not with Jefferson. I think there's KJ Osborne's still there. Hawkinson's there. I mean, if you're mixing Madison in, I just don't see what world he becomes Adam Thielen. Yeah. I just don't think he's there yet. Maybe next year, but I don't think his rookie season. Gabe Davis goes. Brandon Cooks in round 8. Still don't. I think that's way too high. Michael Thomas, who I like better than all these guys. Then Kadarius Toney, Juju, who I like better than all these guys. And then same thing with Zay. That's 3 guys that I love in 8 and 9. Michael Thomas, Juju, Zay Flowers. And then A.J. Dillon goes. Treylon Burks goes. And I will pause it here so you can tell me what you're thinking, Clay.
don't love any of the picks around here, honestly.
Let's see.
Elijah
So
Moore is the
got,
top player on the board, and that feels high
yep.
for him. Very high.
Yeah, he's been going, man, the hype has really drove his price up. He was going so late there for a while.
DPJ is too good of a player to
Yeah.
be
So
drafted. I mean, for Elijah Moore to be drafted above him.
you got Henry, Cook, Herbert, Cooper, Godwin, Johnson. You're pretty balanced. 3 and 3.
I feel better about my running backs in terms of depth right now than I do my receivers.
And this is a good spot to kind of pick and choose. Personally, there's one guy on this list that I feel like could be the wide receiver 1 on his team.
Yeah, Sky Moore.
And that would be Sky Moore. I think if you're drafting for some backup bench players,
yeah,
take somebody that has a chance to be the wide receiver 1 versus a wide receiver 2 that's more proven in the past.
Yeah.
And and you know what they say about second-year wide receivers.
They take that leap.
So that's right. They take that leap. So I think I'm going to resume it here.
That's definitely where I'm leaning. And then speaking of the solidified wide receiver 2s, Jacoby Myers is the other one I'm looking at. I think he's kind of being undervalued a little bit. Yes, it is Jimmy G, but I think him being the 2 alongside Adams and then also throw in Renfro in the slot. Myers is a very good receiver. I mean, he probably had 800, 900 yards past couple years with Mac Jones and the terrible offense of the Patriots. I think Myers is a solid pick there, but yeah.
My only caveat is that he was the number 1 wide receiver then and the focal point of that wide receiver core.
I think it might help him though to have other people around him, especially someone like Adams, where now the number 1 corner is not going to be on Myers; it's going to be the number 2. And
I gotcha.
And yeah, it is Jimmy G though.
Yep.
And I think I trust Patrick Mahomes a little bit more. So I'm gonna go Sky. I'm gonna go Sky Moore.
Sky Moore.
Another defense goes.
All right, let's see what we're looking at here now. All right. Man, they sniped me. I was hoping P-Ryan was gonna make it, but he didn't. So he goes Sky Moore. Eagles defense goes P-Ryan, Bateman, and then now I'm sitting here trying to figure out where I'm going to go. We got Elijah Moore, definitely a value, but not that crazy about him. Do I hedge my bet with Kenneth Walker and take Charbonnet here? Just in case he gets injured. I think that's still a little pricey. Let's see who else we got there. Jarrett McKinnon, Jamal Williams, the 3-game man to start the season. What else do we got? Or do I go with a higher end tight end to back up Darren Waller?
Nah, you don't need that.
I don't know where. Let's see. I don't like Elijah Moore enough to take him here.
No.
I'll tell you what I do. I'm gonna take an upside, which he still seems like he's going high. I like him a lot. I'm gonna take him right here because he's gonna ride my bench because I got other guys that are gonna start. But I'm gonna take Quentin Johnston here.
Solid.
Even though I know he's not gonna probably start out the man or even playing a ton, but he's gonna give me a little bit more wide receiver depth. Let's see who went after me.
Another defense. And Elijah Moore's finally gone. Jamal Williams, Evan Ingram.
Of course. All right, Jamal went. Sorry, it was not letting me load so I could scroll over to see who went. All right, so another defense, Jamal Williams, Evan Ingram. Let's see. And we're sitting here at pick 10.
What you feeling?
I'm wondering if
when do you take a quarterback?
I should go ahead and take a quarterback here.
You've got what, 5 wide receivers, 3 running backs?
I like Geno because of his weapons
But do you want Geno and Walker as your quarterback running back?
It's a good point. Or do you go Kirk Cousins with a safe floor?
You go Kirk and Mattinson.
That's true.
And you don't like Danny Dimes.
Let me go ahead and do this. Let's talk about this some more. So running backs, Jalen Ward, Rashad Penny, A-Chain. Now there's that Elijah Mitchell pick still there, way down there.
Yeah.
Tank Bigsby, who I like a lot, and then Roshan. So those are some guys. Pat Fryermuth's still out there, who honestly is super underrated as a tight end.
Yeah.
And he's fallen enough where I could really consider taking him as a backup. Although, of course, my draft just crashed and I got to reload it. Although I really am not a big proponent of taking backup tight ends that high, but
with someone like Waller who has the injury history, I don't think it's a terrible idea.
I'm pretty set at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Pretty set at running back for the most part. I do need another running back.
Well, and looking, you're about to go teams 1 through 3 do not have a tight end, and they're about to draft twice before you draft.
That's right. So Jarrett McKinnon, Charbonnet, Warren, Penny. I don't love any of those guys as my second. I do like Mitchell as a bench. I like Mostert okay too, just because he seems like he's going to be the guy until somebody gets traded. And I like Tank Bigsby. And I like Roshan Johnson. Those are all guys that are going to fall later. So I think I take my backup tight end here, and I think I go Fryermuth, who is he's a focal point in that offense, whether people like to admit it or not. He has got a good chemistry going with Kenny Pickett, and he's a big red zone presence. So I'm going to go with Fryermuth.
It's a very tough spot for you with the quarterbacks because Minnesota's offense is good, but I don't know about pairing Cousins with the running back one, and then Geno is the same way.
I know 2 other quarterbacks that I'd rather have that are going later that I'm probably going to end up taking back to back on this next pick. So I'm going to go ahead and go Fryermuth here to back up my Darren Waller pick and give me safe floor if he gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It'd probably help if I actually resume the draft, though.
Yeah, I think that's the best bet for you right now, just because, I mean, top running back available is a handcuff that doesn't really feel like a handcuff. It's like a weird situation.
That's right.
Yeah, it's just a very, very just weird part of the draft right here.
Yep. But this is what you do the mocks for. So when you get down to this situation, you've got your team filled out. What am I looking for this round? And honestly, Pat Fryermuth at the 10th round, 111th overall, his ADP is 91. That's pretty darn good value. So let's see what happens now.
Dobbs, Charbonnet, and Myers.
Yep. So I told you Dobbs has been creeping on up there. He was not even really being drafted until the last couple weeks, and he has snuck up there a pretty good bit. But so Fryermuth, and then Evan Ingram goes, who I don't like near as much as Fryermuth. I like the offense better, but they got, to me, way more weapons in Jacksonville than they do in Pittsburgh. Where in Pittsburgh, I think you got Pickens, Johnson, Fryermuth. You got Najee, but we didn't see him used in the passing game as much last year as we did the year before. So I think Kenny Pickett really likes throwing to his tight end as wide receivers more than he does his running back. But we see Dallas go at 10, which is craziness. Here we go. This is those crazy picks that your computers are filling out their team, going high on their defenses, which is good for them. But Myers goes. What are you thinking? I know you like Myers. I don't know if you were thinking wide receiver depth, but
I wouldn't have minded him as my 5th. I still only have 3 running backs.
Yep.
And the list isn't going to get any better.
Nope. So
I don't really know based on the receivers.
Who's your running backs? You got Henry and who else?
I'm going Damian Harris.
Okay.
A little bit of a weird pick, but
he got good run in the last preseason game, scored the touchdown on the opening drive with the starters.
Yeah.
So he's back from that injury he had. And they said he could be their goal line back, which is kind of unnerving for James Cook, who you have.
Yeah.
But if for some reason he ends up emerging and being the man and you want to play him over Cook, there you go.
Yeah, and I think that there's a real chance that Harris is a week to week player just because of his goal line work. Maybe something similar to the Kamara Ingram pairing to a very smaller degree. But yeah, I don't know. I think Harris, he's a talented running back, and as my fourth back, I'm okay with it. And there's just not a lot of picks here that are just going to be ones you love.
There's one that I forgot about, which I was going for our Muth anyway. I could have went this guy, but I've got enough wide receiver depth. But Adam Thielen in this area is one that I keep forgetting about. He's their wide receiver one right now. DJ Chark is on the depth chart injured because we know he can't stay healthy. But Adam Thielen is more of a stable wide receiver one than DJ Chark to me any day of the week. And I like him a lot way down here at pick 10. He's probably, honestly, the last wide receiver one for a team to go off the board, period. And anyway, so A-Chain goes, Bills go, Boyd goes. I mean, you got the third wide receiver for Cincinnati going, and then the first wide receiver for Carolina. So
yeah, I went another running back. I went Elijah Mitchell.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it gives me my fifth running back. I still only got four receivers, but I do have Travis Kelce, so that does help me out a little bit there. I have that just position advantage to an extreme extent. And Mitchell, I think Mitchell and Harris are both guys that they're both one injury away from being even better than we expect. And I think Mitchell is going to get some run even with McCaffrey out there. So
all right.
Yeah,
so
it's just a tough situation, tough part of the draft here.
So here we are. Everybody's got a quarterback so far. So I'm feeling okay about passing this round on a quarterback. So right now I'm going to go for another little bit more running back depth on somebody that I think will have a role early on in this offense that I really like, and that's going to be Tank Bigsby. I think he's going to have a role, and not to mention if something happens to ETN. Okay, so now we're in round 12. Daniel Jones is the best available quarterback currently. Then it goes to Cousins, Smith, who we talked about pairing them with our running backs. Not too crazy about that. But somebody that I do want to pair with my wide receiver is going to be Aaron Rodgers.
You also have Jared Goff, who you could pair with Amon-Ra.
I do, but I'm more fearful of Aaron Rodgers' vindictive nature on everybody thinking that he was done.
Yeah.
And he comes out and plays a preseason game that he hasn't played in like 5, 6, 7 years, however long. Either way, he's been one of those that stood on a platform saying, I don't need to play in a preseason game for years. And he's going to play in a preseason game with his team because he knows, for one, he's building chemistry, but he knows his team's got a good chance, and he's wanting to show them that he's all in. So I'm going to go Rodgers here. And just to make sure I get that guy, because I'm happy with several other backup quarterbacks. That can make it around to me. So I go Rodgers. Okonkwo goes, Gainwell goes, and then Cole Kmet, couple backup tight ends go in there. So what are you thinking, Clay? Are you leaning backup tight end? Or
no,
are we not worried about it?
Never. With Travis Kelce, I'll be all right.
Yeah, the 36-year-old Iron Man.
Yeah, right. week 10 bye, so I'll be all right. I don't love my wide receiver depth with my number 4 being Moore, so I think I'm gonna go another receiver here. And it's one that I kind of consider the past 2 picks. And that's Darnell Mooney.
Okay.
I like Mooney. He's someone that he's succeeded the past couple of years. I mean, not been anything groundbreaking, but he also didn't have any type of receiver on the other side of him. I think he's someone that can, having that DJ Moore, it's similar to Jacoby Myers playing alongside Devontae Adams. I think Myers is going to get a boost. I think Mooney alongside DJ Moore is going to get even better, which it sounds weird a wide receiver bringing in a guy that's going to get 100 targets gets better, but I think that's the case here. And what is this round, like 12th round? Yeah,
12th round.
I'll take Mooney there.
All right, go ahead.
And then
Goes Mooney.
Ooh.
Then we go Mostert, Hyatt, Kincaid, Algier, Everett, Singletary, Spears, Foreman, Higbee, Gallup coming back at you. So what kind of depth are we thinking about?
A lot of backup running backs there.
A lot of backup running backs going there. I know one that I would take if I was you. If you're concerned about your running back depth,
I think I'm okay there. I've got 5 running backs, 5 wide receivers. So
you concerned about having a quarterback behind Watson?
See, that's what I'm looking at. I love Geno.
Yeah.
And the upside of Richardson intrigues me, and he could sit behind Watson. And if it happens, it happens.
I do like that, especially if he runs like they're saying he will.
Yeah. And then also Goff. I mean, I think he's just a very just safe pick.
That's right.
And looking at the receivers and running backs, man, it's just slim.
There's a receiver that I love toward the end of the rounds right now.
Marvin Mims.
That is exactly right.
Yeah.
And he has not made his way up draft boards, which is why people don't even look at him.
And my boy Robert Woods is sitting down there.
Yeah, Bobby Trees, the best blocking wide receiver in the league. That's about all he's going to do.
And maybe a wide receiver 1 on the team.
Get out of here,
13th round.
Son.
Hey, you
get
never
out
know.
of here. But Nico Collins going to be there 1. Now, how long, I don't know, because I think Tank Dell takes that spot. Oh, let me pause that.
I don't know about that. I got it in. I went Geno.
Right.
I don't know.
Geno Smith.
The Dell hype, I'll believe when it happens.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, he's electric. But he also doesn't have quite the team,
Yeah.
But anyway, so Geno Smith, Roshan goes, who I liked a lot. Jawan Johnson, Kendre Miller. So really, this is my last pick before defense and a kicker, if you believe in draft 1, which I don't, but because we're doing this.
Yeah, might as well.
We're just letting it go. Let's see. I'm sitting at wide receiver, running back, tight end, wide receiver, running back. So I'm pretty balanced. Rodgers, Walker. I've got Cortland Sutton. Let's see. I mean,
are you going a backup quarterback?
I thought about it, but there's so many good ones. If you didn't go backup quarterback, you could pick one up if you have an injury.
Yeah.
Marvin Mims there. Let's see. I was looking at running backs just to see.
There ain't many.
No, none hardly.
I mean, there's not even
that I would
some
even
that I
think
can
about.
Yeah, there's not even some that I can talk myself into.
This one right here. I'm just going to throw this one out there just because he's somebody that I think will have a role somewhere before it's over, and that's going to be Kareem Hunt.
Okay.
So I think he's got a good chance to get signed sometime after cuts.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. And then that comes back around to the turn. Man, I like this spot for a defense, even though I'm playing against a computer that they all draft defenses at. But that's a good spot. Early 14th round for a defense.
And I know the defense you're liking.
There's not many left. Oh, yeah, the best defense there is right here. The New Orleans Saints, the easiest defense. I mean, and they've made a ton of improvements. So I'm going the Saints defense there.
Justin Tucker goes. I was going to go kicker.
Yep. Hey, but he still won the number 1 last year. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying.
Oh wait, what defense do I even like?
Man, you can't hardly go wrong with Baltimore, who's made a lot of improvements.
Yeah, but then they'd be playing against my quarterback and wide receiver, and that division's just gonna be so tough, man.
It is, but they made a lot of improvements. You got the Patriots, who I don't think are going to be as good as they have been in past. Denver, that's a tough division, but Denver, it's not bad. Washington's a sneaky defense too. Ron Rivera is a defensive-minded coach, and they're supposedly getting on the right track over there. You kind of got slim pickings at this point, and that's something we need to pick up at this point. You should be looking at week 1 opponents.
And I think that's why I'm gonna wait on defense because there's someone I like a little bit later, and I'm gonna go kicker and Bass, Butker, McPherson, all kick outside, all high-powered offenses, but I'll go with my reliable Daniel Carlson.
That's right. Great choice.
Then it went Chiefs. No, not Chiefs. Yeah, Chiefs, Patriots, Ravens, and Broncos all went off the board, and the top like 5 kickers. So, and Chuba Hubbard, because why not?
Oh, Marvin Mims Jr. right there.
Oh, yeah.
Which he went right before you, but just saying, I didn't realize he got picked. Look at him going late. Go ahead.
Let's see. So now it's defense time, and I like the Browns, but as I just said, tough division because I do think the Browns defense can be really good this year. Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, Juan Thornhill at safety, Grant Delpit. I think they're gonna be really good. One that it's way down here, I think it is a bit of a sleeper, is Seattle. Seattle's defense was good last year. They're young. They got better. Brought back Bobby Wagner where he belongs. Very good linebacker. And they open up with the Rams and then at Detroit, which bit of an iffy game there, and then Carolina and the Giants. I feel good about those 4 games.
Okay, I like that. Good.
Good pick. They're way down there at 20, but I think they're
good pick.
Yeah, and if you want to, yes, Stafford and Kupp are going to be out there week 1, but I don't know. I think they still could be solid.
And then last pick for me, but certainly not least, Blake Groupie for the New Orleans Saints.
There you go.
The Saints' new kicker after they traded Will Lutz to Denver Broncos. That's probably a little bit tidbit of news that we probably should let the show off with.
Yeah.
The ever faithful Will Lutz, thank you for your service and your many game-winning kicks, Lutz. But you got traded back to your old coach in Denver, who I'm sure you probably don't mind. But thanks for getting us a draft pick back also. But Blake Groupie is the new young gun. Had a great preseason. He did miss a 60-yarder, but from what I've seen and what I've heard, he had plenty of leg behind it. Just kind of pushed it just a little bit. So kicking in the dome. The bye week is week 11, so I don't have to worry about a kicker for a while. Should be an improved offense, being able to move the ball. I don't see any, like we said, we both of us on here pick kickers in the dome. And also, if you can, try to look at their bye week. High-powered offenses also. Look at their bye week. Don't pick a guy that's going to have a bye week 5. Because then you're going to set your lineups, and then next thing you know, it's going to be week 4, and you're like, oh, man, I gotta find a kicker. I got to do something about a kicker. You don't want to have to worry about a kicker week 4. You're trying to make waiver pickups that are going to win you your league then. Yeah. And, you're worried about what kicker you're going to draft. So, but yeah, look for a guy kicking high-powered offense in a dome and a later bye week. So,
something that it's already jumped out at me. They gave me an 87, but Team 5 has a 97 out of 100.
Yeah,
I'm about to see what this team looks like because that is insane. Team 5 went Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes. Okay, so you get Mahomes and Hill. Metcalf, wide receiver 2, Metcalf, TJ Hawkinson. In the 4th round, you don't have a running back yet. And then you go 4 straight running backs. Miles Sanders, I like him. J.K. Dobbins, don't know about that. Montgomery, Brian Robinson. And then your wide receiver 3 is Treylon Burks,
who's injured currently.
Your wide receiver
4
is Isaiah Hodgins. Your wide receiver 5 is Michael Gallup.
Sweet mother.
You get A-Chain and Mostert. That's how is that the best team?
I do not know, and I completely agree. If I would have had to pick a best team, personally, other than I really like both of our teams, but Team 1 is pretty intriguing to me. I don't like the running back depth at all. They kind of fell off. They got Kamara and Jones, and then they got McKinnon and Singletary.
Yeah,
so I like their wide receivers.
McKinnon first 3 weeks.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Team 9's not bad. Looking at Team 9's, Diggs, Brown, Hurts, Ayuk, Connor Williams.
Yeah, I like that.
but then he doesn't do anything with running back. He goes Dotson, Beckham, Bateman. You draft two Baltimore wide receivers back to back. I guess you're like, well, I'm gonna get one of them.
One of them will work.
Dobbs, Warren, Okonkwo. Okonkwo is your starting tight end. Don't love that. Because I would have took Higbee there instead of Okonkwo or anybody. Kendre Miller, who I do like. So, man, a lot of these, and that's what we were talking about earlier. These computers, they draft, fill out their team, but they draft best available, and sometimes that's just not the best way to go about it. Team 3, Christian McCaffrey, T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, Burrow, Akers, and then we got
look at those receivers next.
Pittman, Davis, Flowers, Boyd, and then Zeke. I don't like Zeke being my RB3.
I love that Pittman, Davis, Flowers, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid pick there. But I mean, he already had Higgins, Allen, Hopkins.
Yeah,
really should have went running back somewhere in there. You know.
Yeah, because your running back 3 is Zeke and your 4 is Deontay Foreman.
Let's go ahead and so let's just go ahead and recap our teams. Clay, who do you end up with right here, Clay?
So I got Kelsey round 1. I feel good about that, and I love pairing him with Henry. I think that's about as consistent as it gets from both the tight end and the running back position. I feel like they're both lock. Well, with Kelsey, he's a lock top 5 tight end, and Henry, while he might not be drafted as a top 5 running back, it feels like he's always in that range, at least top 10. And then I went Cooper, Godwin, Deontay Johnson. I feel good about those 3 receivers. If I did have a complaint, it would be my wide receiver depth. I don't love Sky Moore and Mooney as my 4 and 5 because I feel like it's a wide receivers league and I want to be deeper in those positions. But I got Cook and Herbert as my 2 and 3 at running back. So I love my top 3 running backs and my top 3 receivers. And I love Kelsey, obviously. And I think Watson's a really good pick for his range. But the depth after that does kind of take a hit from me. And maybe it is because I'm in a 12-team league and I'm kind of used to drafting in that 10. So maybe this isn't a bad depth for a 12-team league. But yeah, I mean, having a Damian Harris is my running back 4, Elijah Mitchell, like I don't love any of that.
Yeah. All right. So going to mine, I went as close to 0 RB as I could. I learned my lesson after last night. First, I went Amon-Ra at pick 10. And then on the turn, coming back around, Garrett Wilson, pick 15. And then wide receiver again, Calvin Ridley. So there's my 1, 2, and my flex, or my wide receiver 3. Then RB1, I went pick 39, Alexander Madison, who I think could easily sneak into the RB1 category this year. If he gets the volume and they don't sign somebody. And if they do sign Kareem Hunt, well, I've got him on my team already.
Yeah.
Then I go Darren Waller at pick 58 in round 5, who I love. And he goes in 5 in 12-team leagues, 6, and sometimes into 7 in 10-team leagues. But pick 5, love Darren Waller. I mean, to me, he's another wide receiver at tight end. Far more, I feel like he's going to get more consistent play than Hawkinson and Andrews, just because they're competing with wide receivers that are better wide receivers on their team than Waller. I mean, Darius Slayton is the best wide receiver on Darren Waller's team.
Yeah.
I mean, Darius Slayton didn't even get drafted in a 12-team league, okay? And that's his competition for catches. I'm just saying. So, anyway, going on down to round 6, Kenneth Walker at my RB2. Some could argue he could have RB1 value. I think it's a lot less likely, but their offense is a lot better than people thought. And last year, and he looked pretty darn good with Geno Smith under center. So I like him at RB2. And then I wanted to stick with running back depth. I go Dalvin Cook, round 7. We know he's going to get run. They're not signing him off the street for no reason. It says today he's practicing, so he's back at practice. ready to be ready for week 1. I think it's going to be split carries for him and Brees Hall to begin the season, probably. And it's going to come down to probably who Aaron Rodgers likes the best. Let's be honest. Yeah, that's what's going to matter the most, who he feels most comfortable with out there. And that's going to be Aaron Jones for him.
Yeah.
Whoever that is, that's going to be his Aaron Jones. I'm banking it's going to be Cook because of his experience and in the league, his experience with pass blocking, his experience with reading defenses and running the right route at the right time. Brees Hall will be there one day, but I don't think he's there, and I darn sure don't think he's going to be on the level that Aaron Rodgers is expecting. And I also think that's another reason they signed him, because they already knew Brees Hall wasn't on that level yet. So I like my value there for Dalvin Cook at my RB3. Then after that, for my wide receiver 4, Courtland Sutton, the number 1 wide receiver in Denver, especially with Judy going down with that moderate hamstring injury. They're saying minimum 3 to 4 weeks of the season now. That's kind of crazy to think, but yeah, so if he's missing minimum 3 to 4 weeks, let's see. I think he's got a new update. Let's see. He is going to be put on short-term IR, guys. That was 6 hours ago. So short-term IR for Jerry Jeudy, and they still took him in round. Let's see. They still took him in round 5. So I don't see that happening. I'm trying to see. It says that they did this so that he can stay on the active roster, but he should be back within the next few weeks. That's all they're giving us. So whatever that means. Anyway. So I love Courtland Sutton all the way down at round 8 as a good wide receiver depth. One of these guys gets injured, bye week, whatever I need. Then I took Quentin Johnston, a little bit of a reach for him, but I really like his value. And I'm going to be honest right here. It was an oversight on my part. I missed Adam Thielen. I probably would have took Adam Thielen here instead, and I didn't. But, it is what it is. I'm happy with Quentin Johnston. It's not like I'm having to start him, but I do like Adam Thielen a little bit better because he's leading that wide receiver room. And there's nobody a young quarterback's going to like more in the wide receiver than a veteran wide receiver that's an excellent route runner like Adam Thielen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, obviously, he's going to love his tight end, which I don't even know who his tight end is right now. And the fact that I don't
Hayden
probably leads
Hurst.
me to think that, okay, well, there you go. Then Hayden Hurst will probably be one of his best friends as well.
Yeah.
Bryce Young and Miles Sanders. But I think Adam Thielen's going to get a lot of volume in that offense, especially with Frank Wright as the offensive coordinator and the coach. And then I went Pat Freiermuth to back up a little bit of health insurance for Darren Waller. And I thought I got a great value on him all the way down at round 10 for Freiermuth. I've had him for the last couple of years in several leagues. He is a great red zone target and almost a sure bet for about 5 catches and anywhere from 40 to 50 yards a game. Then I went Tank Bigsby just for a little bit of depth, somebody that's a rookie running back in a good offense with a good offensive coordinator in Doug Peterson, a good emerging quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne in front of him, not the moral of health in his career. So somebody that has a chance to step into a big role, but he's also expected to be more of a goal line back already in that offense.
Yeah.
So I like Tank Bigsby a lot there in round 11. Round 12, I finally go quarterback with a guy that I had question marks about before the season, and then he played in his first preseason game in like 5 or 6 years, and that's Aaron Rodgers, throwing the ball to my number 2 pick in Garrett Wilson for a touchdown on the first drive of the preseason for them, and it was one of them back shoulder. Aaron Rodgers skims the top of the defender's head, helmet throws, and
it was a quick pass that you don't see from a guy that is in their first real game action together. That's something that Aaron Rodgers threw to Devontae Adams after 5 years.
Numerous times.
Yeah.
And if they're going to be doing that, I want to double up on that.
Yeah.
So I took Aaron Rodgers. Kareem Hunt, still a free agent. There's got to be a good chance he goes somewhere.
Do you
I think
feel
it's the Colts.
I feel pretty good about him being drafted in most drafts. What about
Yeah.
Fournette for you?
I think his injury history is a lot longer than Kareem Hunt's.
Yeah.
So, and with him not being active in OTAs and camp, I worry about Fournette getting up to speed more than I do Kareem Hunt. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not saying Kareem Hunt hadn't had his injuries too.
And there really
But
hasn't been like a lot of rumors
not
for
as
Fournette.
much. No, not at all. But I think with Kareem Hunt being already, did he not go to Indianapolis already? And he was linked to them.
He worked
and
out for the
Minnesota.
Saints like 3 times, and people
Yeah.
thought we were signing him.
And
then
well,
Indianapolis said
linked.
we're going to pay you more money.
Yeah, and then he went up there and then didn't sign with them.
Yeah.
So I feel like with them putting Taylor on the pup, they got to bring somebody in.
Yeah.
I think it's a good chance it could be Hunt, and if it is, I mean, he steps into the number 1 role there easy.
Yeah.
And I got him in round 13. Did I take to me the best defensive value there is in the Saints because they got the easiest schedule and they've made a lot of improvements on defense this year. Their defense is looking really good. I'm hearing a lot of good things out of camp. And then last but certainly not least, the dome kicker, Blake Grupe, beat out Will Lutz. They traded Will Lutz to Denver. He's 5'7", guys. 5'7".
He's a tiny man.
But hey, he's the modern day Grammatica. Who remembers Martin Grammatica? That's right. The modern day Grammatica. Let's just hope he doesn't tear his ACL on a celebration.
I think there's about a 90% chance that he's drafted in every Louisiana league. Just because it's a new kicker and young, like
if he's there and I don't have a kicker, I'll take Blake Grupe every day of the week.
Yeah, why not?
I think their offense is going to improve. They're in the dome. I mean,
and you're also in the dome against Atlanta as well, so that's just one more dome game.
Yeah, and then Carolina doesn't exactly have terrible weather,
No, and Tampa sure don't either.
Neither does Tampa. So you're looking at 8 of your games right there in great scenarios for kickers. So anyway, but Blake Grupe there.
You also play in Houston. You play in Minnesota. You play in Indianapolis.
Boy, how about the Saints kicker?
You play at the Rams, so that's 4 more domes.
The way you're talking right now, you're making it sound like that the New Orleans kicker should be one of the first ones drafted.
Dome field advantage. It's right there.
Yep. So
his outside games are going to be Carolina, Green Bay week 3, so weather won't be terrible.
New
England week 5 won't be terrible.
Not that bad.
And then Tampa week 17. That's it. He has four outside games.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. But I love this team. I really do. I love this team a lot more. I did not go backup quarterback. Anybody that's wondering, you know why? Because Jared Goff didn't get drafted, Russell Wilson didn't get drafted, and Derek Carr didn't get drafted. Why in the world would I need to take one if 3 of them are sitting out there? Say Aaron Rodgers comes out and gets hurt, I guarantee you I get one of those 3 off the waiver wire. No doubt. And I'd be happy with one of those without a shadow of a doubt. Did I say Jared Goff?
I feel pretty good about
Jared
that.
Goff didn't. Did I say Jared Goff too?
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say because I was like, he didn't get drafted either, and he definitely needs to be named because I love Jared Goff this year.
Yeah, I don't usually draft backup quarterbacks, but I hated the board, so I just went quarterback.
Yeah. Well, and I don't either. I felt like my team, I took one so late, and I was already so good, and then there's so many that didn't get drafted that I like.
Yeah.
If I would have seen a run on them, and there was like one left that I really liked, I might would have taken them over Kareem Hunt. But anyway, love this team compared to my one last night where I really messed up at the 4th round. To me, this is going to be my format just about any way I draft this year.
Yeah.
So hopefully the drafts that I do have left, I've got 2 left. If you do listen to this pod, just don't pay attention to my draft order until after we make our drafts, because there's a good chance that I'm going to follow this rubric. But anyway, but that's going to round it out for us, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed it. This we love doing mock drafts. Honestly, this probably my last 2 pods have been my favorite pods that I've done yet.
Yeah.
Mock drafts live. I love it. We don't have enough time to do any more really because of some scheduling conflicts. And then the season's going to be upon us before we know it. We got drafts coming up. But we want to thank y'all. We appreciate everybody listening. Please like, subscribe, download, give us your feedback on any of your podcast or streaming apps that you use. Let us know what you want, what you don't want, what you like. Let us know what you think about our drafts. Yeah. And
go do mock drafts on your own. Get ready for the weekend.
Right. That's right. And I can go ahead and tell you right now, and Clay can too. Your real life draft is not going to be like your mock draft.
Yeah.
It never is. But it can prepare you to be ready to pivot whenever you don't get that guy that you want. You have an idea of what's in that range, and you're not running out of. If you're on an online draft and you're not running out of time, because that's the last thing you want to do is run out of time and make a pick that you don't want, and then you're really, really going to hate your team, and you don't want to do that in fantasy. You want to love your team and be excited for the season to get started, and that's what we want to help you do. So thank you for everybody listening. We really love doing this, and we'll be back at you early next week.
Draft season is here, finally.
And everybody go win their draft this weekend.
Hey, maybe we can do something Monday to where like people send in their drafts and we kind of rate them.
Hey, that would be great. If you do your draft, screen it, send it in to us.
At the least, I can bring the Dirty Boot one. And show it. And I can show the auction one for some comedy because there's some wild picks every year in that thing.
There you go.
Joe Burrow will go for at least $20.
Well, we'll have to do a grade your draft episode sometime next week too. So, but we appreciate everybody. Thank y'all for listening, and keep chasing that trophy. And we'll talk to y'all next week.
This ain't how it's supposed to be. It should be just you and me. I feel